Everyone, and thank you for attending this video. Today we will be discussing Newt'n Tech, a cutting-edge AI tool used for early education and childhood learning. And we want to be looking at a couple of case studies and deriving some insights, namely asking questions on how can we be better than some of our competitors, as well as delivering some insight as well into preventative safeguards as well as a roadmap into how we implement those safeguards and implement the product as well to make it a top tier product. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing we want to look at are three controversial startups related to our product or very similar to our product and how they fell short as far as delivery of what was promised and how we will mitigate and do better, improve on those fail points. So the first product would be Proctorio or ExamSoft, which was an AI-powered remote proctoring software. We have Newt'n, not to be confused with Newt'n Tech. Newt'n is an AI-driven adaptive learning platform, and we have Duolingo's AI-powered learning paths. So what happened for each different case we understood was Proctorio was accused of invasive surveillance and bias against students of color. So we understand that that's really not positive, and the AI tool was not trained properly in order to avoid bias. Newt'n was claimed to have personalized learning, but they faced backlash for basically over-promising and then under-delivering. The product that they delivered was not up to par as far as privacy concerns and the usage of the data. And then Duolingo's AI-powered path learning shifted from user choice to selection in AI-determined pathways, and it frustrated longtime users who felt their autonomy was being taken away. So let's look into some of the issues with this type of failing points in our AI tools. So the first thing that's probably most important would be user and data privacy. It's really important as we go further, especially as data is going to be utilized, that we understand that privacy is paramount and we need to preserve privacy as much as possible. No one's going to want to use a tool if they feel like their data is being misused. Um, then we also have lack of transparency. It's very important to be transparent about what's going on with your data because the reality is a lot of people aren't understanding what's being done with their data or the implications thereof. Then we also have bias in AI learning models. So when a model is biased due to the data that it's been trained on, that can be very bad because it basically it's creating tools that are biased. And what we want to do is we want to create fair systems where everyone can benefit. So as we saw with the Proctorio exam soft, there were non-traditional learning behaviors because the system failed to recognize darker skin tone, basically meaning that students were being flagged for cheating that weren't cheating because the system was biased, and that's just an unfair system and a way to learn. So we have some important risks. We need to understand that in order to collect data, there are strict adherence laws called COPA or the Children's Online Privacy Protection Rule, meaning that this a product like this that focuses on early education would need to adhere to COPA in order to be a good product and also to not break the law. We need to also understand some risk would be getting the parents to be end users or to believe in the product because ultimately if the parents don't believe in the product or they don't trust the product, then it can't go to market because they won't be allowed to be used on children. And then transparency as well is very important because transparency and trust go hand in hand with having a good connection between business to business or business to consumer, whatever the case may be, whatever the buyer and the seller have to have this modem of trust in order to continue doing business with one another. So transparency is very important, especially in the world of AI where there are these black box models where we don't really know what the AI is doing and what is going on. It's important to be as transparent as possible about that process. So some approaches that we've thought of to mitigate this risk would be, of course, to adhere to COPA laws and maintain transparent data policies, getting parental consent, and working with legal experts to ensure a full compliance. And then also publishing case studies frequently to show our insights on what's going on and show the data and keep it out there for everyone to see, making everything public as possible hopefully even open source so people can see how we're doing things and what we're doing. And then, of course, using explainable AI to mitigate that black box model issue that we tend to have when it comes to machine learning. Things like deep learning and neural networks tend to utilize black box machine learning that doesn't really explain what the AI is doing and what and how we're getting our outputs. So maybe using things like explainable AI implemented in our tool to make sure that people are understanding and interpreting what the model is doing a lot better. And then also having realistic expectations is fairly clearly set for the AI. So we plan to protect the data in a number of different ways. We definitely have to consider privacy. So we're going to use things like end-to-end encryption to make sure everything is encrypted and safe. Saving things on a local device rather than saving on the cloud so that it can't be breached. As we know, with centralized systems, they can be breached and that can be very dangerous. And then also using anonymous data, which will help us with storage and ensuring that people's private data is protected. So we have a parental content system which should have a two-step verification system ensuring that everyone stays safe. Now, as far as AI training and keep everything ethical, we will work on regularly auditing the AI for bias and making sure that we continue to tune these things to remove all negative stereotypes. Also, working on aggregating and non personal learning so that the interactions between AI will be only used for that type of stuff. And the last thing is no biometric collection of data. We will not collect facial recognition, voice recordings, or fingerprints. So none of those things will be saved, and that ensures that people keep their privacy rights. Allow me to break down some more of our anti-bias measures in our implementation of our product. So we want to work on having a design stage, a development stage, and evaluation stage. And throughout all those stages, we plan on utilizing diverse data to train across all different educational groups and different races of children to ensure that there's no bias in our data. And then also in our data labeling, we'll use multiple reviewers to prevent individual biases. As far as our developmental stage, we plan to implement a human in the loop, meaning there will be real-time AI monitoring, but using also humans to also monitor and continue to assist in that education process as far as with the children and with the AI tool. So we also plan on flagging the system for inappropriate or biased responses so that we can continue to update our tool and make it more robust to maybe issues like hallucinations or whatever the case may be. And we plan to have an open feedback loop between the parents and the company or just whoever's developing the product in hopes that we will continue to improve the product by listening to the users and seeing what they want in order to improve the product. Some transparency metrics we plan to have implemented for sure are explainable AI, a flagging system for bad responses for the AI behavior logs to continuously log how the AI is behaving and reacting, and as well as a parental data dashboard so the parents are always interacting and they never feel like they're being left out as far as when the children dealing with the AI. I think that's one of the most important things about this product. As far as our transparency with vendors and API partners, we plan to definitely implement compliance with regulation. So we plan on complying to COPA adherence and adherence to all those laws to make sure that parental consent is implemented for our data collection. We also plan to comply with ISO 420001 for AI governance and basically managing cybersecurity risk with our AI tools. And as far as utilizing APIs, we plan to require regular security audits for our model API providers, making sure that our APIs are safe and whatever data our tools are connecting to are being used safely. We plan to ensure strict handling of data agreements for vendors for there's no misuse of the data that we are being used or connecting through APIs. And we also plan to have public disclosure of all third-party AI models or APIs integrated into our system. We believe that implementing these measures will put us a grade ahead and a step ahead of our competitors and prevent us from running into any failure points that may have come up with products that are similar to ours.